My boyfriend wants me to pay half of his loan. I'm so lost and I don't know what to do. So I, 29, have been in a relationship with my boyfriend, 30, for 4 years now. We've known each other for a total of 9 years. I really love him and I know he loves me too. Recently he's asked me to move in with him to take our relationship to the next step. He lives with his mother in his childhood home. Reason being is that his mother is a single mom. He has 2 younger sisters but both of them live and work in a different country. He takes care of his mother. I love his mom. She is a wonderful woman and we get along well. However, I'm really uncomfortable with the idea of me moving in with his mother. I honestly don't think she would be difficult to live with, but I somehow feel like everything I would to do or how I want to live my life would be silently judged by her. And I would feel like a stranger in a place where I would call my home. I have discussed this issue with him before, and he understood. He told me he had plans to get a loan and do some renovations to make the house bigger anyway. It was an idea that he and his mother has discussed before he asked me to move in. He agreed to give me my own room as well so I can have my own privacy, and my own space so I won't feel like a stranger. I have never said no to the idea of moving in with him and his mother. I understand his family's circumstances, but I'm just not enthusiastic about it. However, the issue that I find very difficult to accept is he would want me to pay maybe a quarter of his loan installment every month. It's quite a bit of money. And this does not include the monthly non-fixed expenses around the house I would pay for, example if things need fixing etc. etc. We had an argument yesterday because I do not think it's fair for me since my name is not on the title of the house Eventhal I'll be servicing partial of his loan, my boyfriend and both his sisters' names are. The value of the house would obviously go up after the renovation and I would have no share of it but his sisters would Eventhal they did not help pay the loan. On top of it all, I never want to move into his childhood home in the first place. I asked him what would happen if we broke up after a year? I would have to move out and essentially everything I have contributed to the house would be gone. I do not think it is fair for me. He told me if money was my concern he would pay me all the installments I have put in at that time. He then proceeds to tell me he has a plan to achieve his life goal but he needs my help. If he were to renovate his house, the value of the property would definitely go up. Inclusive of his work promotion, increment, and savings etc. etc. He would have a total of $1 million in assets by the time he is 33. He just needs me to help shoulder the loan for a year and if I were to want to leave after a year, I could. By then he would be able to return the money. I was so heartbroken when I heard this, because I don't think he is aware of what he is asking of me. And I honestly pushed back to this arrangement and he started calling me selfish. Selfish for only thinking about myself, not thinking about our future, not thinking about the family we would have. And also he has tried to accommodate me time and time again, giving me my own room, offering to speak to his mother about boulderies etc. etc. And each time all I do is push back. He says this is the difference between me and him, he is thinking about us and I am only thinking about me. I am so lost at the moment. I honestly am so tired of this but I love him so much. We have been together for so long and I don't know what to do now. Ask him to put your name as one of the owners on the legal papers if you pay. Get it in writing that he would pay you back. Though in reality the two of you sounds like you want different futures entirely. This is at the end of the day a compatibility issue. Don't pay. It's too complicated. Honestly, I wouldn't want to live with my boyfriend's mum either. Even with a private room it would still be her house. I understand he is trying to accommodate you but he is trying to be a fixer. He isn't listening to you. He isn't listening to your concerns. He needs to or the arguments will continue. You owe him nothing at this point, and already he is calling you selfish? Imagine if something did happen and he got bitter? Where would your money be then? It's a difficult situation. But stick to your guns here. It sounds like if you do what he wants you don't come out particularly well. You love him, he loves your money. Never put money into a home that you don't own. He needs to put you on the deed if he expects you to help pay the loan, but I'll bet you $1 million he won't do that. Honestly, as a guy, I'm seeing red flags here. I'm sorry if you wasted 4 years but this seems like a trap. His mom is young enough to do whatever she's doing but he shoulders it and is asking you for money. Doesn't smell or look right, stop eating. Have them sign over some equity in the increased value of the home for what your money is adding to it. So if the home goes from $900,000 to $1 million and you are paying 1/4 of the loan payments you should get $25,000 of a share of that home. If you break up, then he can buy you out or you get it upon the selling of the house. Let me get this straight. Your boyfriend wants you to move into his house where he lives with his mom, siblings, and wants you to pay a portion of the renovation cost on a house that you know ownership rights, thinking face no lady, just no. Husband has weird video game guilt that's ruining our time together. So my husband has been really excited to play Elden Ring. But instead of actually playing the game every night, he pretends he wants to hang out with me. But he will keep talking about how he wishes he had time to play Elden Ring. Significant other, I'm like, you do have time, you're choosing not to which he responds something like, well, I know you want to hang out. He will also try to watch YouTube with me instead of playing Elden Ring. But he will put on videos of someone else playing Elden Ring. The other night he actually decided to sit down and play for a while, but as soon as I got up to do something else, he was like, where are you going? I wanted to hang out. As if I'm supposed to watch him play and react to him playing the game or something. So basically, he is thinking about Elden Ring all the time and feeling sorry for himself because he is limiting his game time to hang out with me. To be clear, I don't care if he plays for a few hours a night, and I have never asked him not to play. This is strictly coming from within himself. I really don't know how to approach the issue. I would just sit and have a chat with him about it. Maybe he just needs some reassurance that you won't be upset. Maybe he's seen or heard too much from others about video games getting in the way of others' relationships. My boyfriend can also be a bit like that sometimes, especially since we had been playing a game together and he is also really excited by Elden Ring. For me, clearly telling him that even though I love playing with him, there are also things I wanted to do by myself, and that I absolutely don't mind him playing, was enough. We have scheduled a few small gaming sessions together, and the rest of the time he feels at ease playing Elden Ring. Maybe having a talk about it with him so the both of you can clearly state your feelings could help? It may be because he likes playing games socially with people, as in he wants to sit and talk while he plays. Is there anything you could do alongside him by yourself that you could still sit and hold a conversation with him at the same time? Otherwise, would he be offended if you told him you wanted some time to yourself, so that he can sit and play without worrying about you not enjoying yourself? I would tell him as kindly as possible that you understand he wants to spend quality time with you, but that because he's thinking about his games the whole time, it makes that time completely lacking in quality. So you'd prefer if he played for an hour or two and then afterwards you had another hour or two of time together to spend where he doesn't talk about the game or watch gaming videos. Talk to him that it's all cool. He probably thinks that if he wants to play and not hang out with you, it would become a fight and how he is childish for liking video games. Trust me, this happens a lot when you are with a woman that is not a gamer. My ex shamed me once and that's all it takes. I would get anxiety playing games. Do we have the same husband? I literally have to reassure my husband that I'm okay hanging by myself and he can go play. I genuinely don't care that he plays. I can put on some reality TV and scroll TikTok for hours. But he will literally come in and visit me, and make sure I am okay. Sounds like he just needs reassurance he can play, and he's trying to be mindful of you without going down the rabbit hole, even if he's not going about it quite the right way. Try something along the lines of, babe, I'm so excited you're excited to play your game, go for it. I would really like the quiet time to read, or whatever, tonight. Enjoy your game, I'm so happy for you. If you're worried about me feeling neglected or not getting enough hangout time, I promise I'll tell you. My boyfriend and I can't stand his best friend's new GF. Me and my partner of 4 years really need some advice. Basically, my boyfriend's best friend, let's call him James, had been with his ex-girlfriend for 4 years as well, and we all grew really close as a group over the years. Recently, James made the stupid decision to cheat on his ex, and has ended up in a relationship with this new girl. I remained friends with James's ex. The loveliest girl you'll ever meet, couldn't hurt a fly. Although we were angry at James, my boyfriend and first forgave him, after telling him he was stupid. We gave the new girl a chance, went out to bars with them and hung out several times. At first I actually did like her and thought she was fun to be around, until she started to show a different side. For example, she says horrible things about James's ex that just are not true, seemingly in an attempt to make herself look better. She is very stuck up and self-involved to the point of being arrogant. She is conspicuously controlling with James, he can't even go to guys' night without her now. She will stop and, secretly, whisper and snicker to James, and you can tell she is saying something mean or judgmental about one of our friends in the group. It has got to the point where me and my partner will only see James if the girlfriend won't be there. And I haven't seen most of my partner's friends, who have become mine, for a few months now because I am trying to avoid her. I know I should probably just suck it up and deal with it, but I really don't feel like surrounding myself with her unpleasant energy. As the only 2 girlfriends in the friend group, I would pretty much be stuck with her all night every time we went out. I want to host a little weekend camping trip at my property next weekend, but I want it to be like the old days where we could all hang out without her weird bitchiness bringing down the mood. Me and my boyfriend aren't sure what we can do if anything. How can I approach this entire situation differently? Or if I take the petty route, how can I have my cake and eat it too by having the camping trip without the new girlfriend being there? Thanks, advice would be appreciated. Invite the ex and don't invite James or his girlfriend. Has your boyfriend spoken to James about the new GF? It may not hurt for him to have a one-on-one conversation. Just highlight that the girlfriend is making people uncomfortable and some of her behavior around the group is inappropriate and mean. If he has and James doesn't care, then I'd invite everyone but them. If it's issue, then you say that you wanted the weekend to be comfortable for everyone there, and unfortunately, that doesn't happen when his girlfriend is involved. The new girl isn't the problem. James is the problem. You realize that James is probably telling the new girl terrible things about his ex, right? He sounds like a terrible person. The new girl has a reason to be insecure around James since he cheated on his ex with her. He will likely cheat with another girl. Was best friends. Super close with a bro for 18 years. His new girlfriend basically said she didn't like me so we don't talk now. He has known her a year and a half and has already bought her a house. Is what it is. Sounds like James has bit off more than he can chew. My guess is he'll ditch the new girl and go groveling back to his ex-girlfriend begging for forgiveness. I've realized it's you I want to spend the rest of my life with. I made a big mistake. You have to trust me on this one. Will you marry me? You chose the wrong friend. I think you need to refuse to be around James and his new GF. If that's things difficult for your boyfriend, then he needs to work harder on resolving the situation. Best just not to invite the best friend. You can't really invite him and tell him not to bring her. That seems like you are trying to undermine his relationship. Spending time with the other friends will allow you to re-establish communication with them since you haven't been around. Get back to the friend group occasionally. You should be able to influence the conversational route she takes. I don't care to hear those things about X. I liked her very much. To be honest, your post makes me wonder if there is a queen bee struggle here. How do the other friends feel about the new GF? Feeling humiliated after boyfriend locks me out of room with all my stuff in it. Too long did not read. My boyfriend locks me out of his room after I try waking him up in the morning. All my stuff is in it. I'm stranded and can't get back to campus, and my classes start soon. See UPDATW below. My F21 boyfriend, M21, of 1 year has a hard time waking up in the morning. I feel like the reason is that he's been depressed for a few months and has been staying up, waking up very late to avoid the responsibilities that come with starting your day. Last year I came out of a 4-year-long period of depression, so I genuinely understand his struggle with getting up. I try to be as empathetic as possible and listen to him for ways I can make his days a bit better. Some context. We're both college students at the same university. I live in the dorms and he has his own apartment off campus. Sometimes we make fun plans for the morning before going to bed. Let's go get coffee before lecture. However, I have learned that it is very difficult to wake him up, so these plans end up not happening. When he finally wakes up, he has told me that he feels demoralized about how. Number 1. He wakes up without me there. Mornings and evenings are our bonding times since we have busy days. Number 2. Half his day is already gone, so he feels even more stressed about everything he has to do. He normally wakes up past 11:30, sometimes even past 2 p.m. Number 3. He missed the chance to partake in the morning plans he was looking forward to. My boyfriend has asked me various times in the past to put more effort into waking him up, sometimes suggesting I vigorously shake him or punch his shoulder. I would never do this and have no desire to hurt him. I think he said it to emphasize the fact that, wake up, let's go get a nice coffee, puppy eyes, won't work. However, on the occasions when I did try to wake him up by lightly shaking him, poking him, pulling the covers, turning the lights on, he lashed out. You're being fking annoying. I need my beauty sleep. When I confronted him afterwards, expressing how his words made me feel, he would always apologize and express how he wishes he did get up. I feel like it's also not my role to wake him up like this. I'm not his mom? so I sometimes feel like I'm overstepping boundaries when I do anything more than wakey. Last time we missed yet another set of morning plans. I didn't try waking him up more than just saying it softly, caressing his shoulder. No results, so I just went about my day. Several hours later he texts me that he's just woken up, etc. He says he would really appreciate it if I successfully woke him up. It sounded like it really meant a lot to him, and I wouldn't want him to feel like I just don't care by not waking him up. Fast forward to this morning. We both went to sleep at 2 a.m., so when I joined my 9 a.m. Zoom lecture, I figured he was pretty tired and made him a warm breakfast around 10 a.m. to try to get him up. My love language is acts of service. He replies with, 10 minutes, please. I go back to the living room to study a bit, and go back 10 minutes later. Same response, but with like a bit more of an aggressive tone. This would normally be where I would stop, as I don't want to be a nuisance. However, given what he said to me a few days earlier, I also didn't want him to feel like I can't come through for him when he needs me to. 40 minutes later, his breakfast is cold, I go again. Same response. I felt very conflicted because what I did next felt like I was overstepping my own boundaries. However, he expressed that would be me doing a huge favor for him, so I went ahead. I turned the light on and took the blankets off, but he just grabs them back and shields himself from the light. With his foot, he sends me flying back about a foot. I wasn't hurt, and in the moment I interpreted it as him rough-housing. While writing this now I DK honestly how I rationalized that like that. I wanted to get back at him for that, so I went and got an ice cube bag from the freezer and put it on him. I think I did this expecting him to initially be irritated, but then come to his senses. Instead, he swats the bag away, looks at me and goes, "You're overstepping your boundaries," in a really angry tone. I couldn't tell if this was him speaking or Sleepy him speaking. I pick the bag up and sprinkle some of the ice dust on him as like a, "FKU. I'm going to get on with my day. Good luck waking up." I realize this was not cool of me, and very childish. At this point I was very annoyed. I went to the kitchen, put the ice bag back and hear him get up, yell, "Get the fuck out of my apartment," and shut his bedroom door. I go back to try to open it. My bag with my phone, keys, wallet was in his room. Also my clothes as I was in my pajamas, but it's locked. I ask him to please open the door, so I can at least get my stuff so that I can leave. About 5 minutes pass. No answer. I feel myself losing my cool, so I try singing to prevent him from falling back asleep so that he opens the door and gives me my stuff so I can leave. I also did this to collect myself a bit. I sang a rendition of, "Do you want to build a snowman?" but it's, "Can I please have my bag?" and a bunch of other songs that I knew he liked, had nice moments in our relationship tied to them. I do this for about 15–20 minutes. No response. Now, I can feel myself getting very demoralized and frustrated. I'm the kind of person who very rarely loses their cool. This was one of those moments where I lost it. I was starting to get desperate, because my in-person lectures were going to start in around an hour and I had no way of getting to campus. I felt humiliated, upset. I decided to take extreme measures and said, "If you don't open the door in 10 seconds, I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs. Somebody is going to file a noise complaint or call the police," and then I started counting down. No response. I didn't actually mean to do it, but when I got to 0 I realized that he was not going to open the door. I screamed at the top of my lungs for 1–2 seconds before I was overcome with emotion. Firstly, my scream scared myself. Lol. Secondly, it was a release of all the pent-up frustration that built up that morning. I broke down sobbing, which he definitely heard. No response at all. At this point, I go to my iPad which was in the living room and call my dorm mates. Thankfully one answers, and I ask her to please come pick me up. When I get back to campus, I go through the process of getting my dorm bedroom unlocked. I always lock it when I leave, and getting a temporary keycard to access my building. I text my boyfriend, "We need to have a serious talk, and, also I would really appreciate if you could give me my stuff back." He responds with, "Are you okay? How did you get to campus?" and, "I'm going to be at work really late today, probably going to get back around 11 p.m. A note about his job. The hours are flexible, he just needs to get a certain numbers of hours in. Normally he does this. He goes to work in the afternoon because he wakes up so late, completes his hours by like 7, uses the company gym, and then studies at his desk until 11 p.m. I'm really disappointed in the choices he has made there, as that means he can go home, 10 minutes drive, and bring me my stuff, 10 minutes drive, before 11 p.m., but has chosen not to. I feel really disrespected, and honestly this event is making me re-evaluate our relationship. We have many good moments together, and love each other a lot, but it's moments like these that I think, what the fuck is going on in his head? And, why am I taking this BS? I'm definitely going to talk to him about this, but something needs to happen in order for change to occur. This is where I need y'all's advice. I need your outside perspective. Update. I just called him. He's really mad about what I did this morning, saying he felt really disrespected, especially by the ice thing, and that it was not my place to do that. Also, he put his AirPods in after locking the door and didn't hear anything except for my scream, and opened the door 5 minutes later. I already left. I feel like I misread what he was asking of me for waking up. I told him about the fact that my bag was in his room, and he said he didn't know, but that I had brought that upon myself. You need to dump him. The update just shows how he gaslighted you to make you feel at fault. He is literally putting your school and your responsibilities at risk. What if you had an exam or your friend couldn't pick you up? If he heard your scream, that should have been enough for him to get up. He chose to not get up, and I highly doubt he came out 5 minutes after you left. This guy is a loser and you need to dump him ASAP. It would be one thing if he was truly apologetic, but he wasn't, and this is a pattern. You're not his alarm clock and he needs to grow up. Go get your stuff and dump his If he won't come to the door, call the police and have them come make him give your stuff back. He is a adult and can wake himself up. You're not an alarm clock, not his mother, and you are also not his punching bag. All that with the covers, you want to date a man, not a 2-year-old. It pretty pathetic that he acts like an can't take responsibility for himself and then blames you for it. I'm not going to waste my time addressing every single thing on here because he's an abusive asshole and you need to leave. That update. Oh hell no. He's minimizing what he did to you, dismissing your feelings, and refusing to take responsibility for his miscommunication with you and for his overreaction. What he did to you was abusive and uncalled for. The fact he's now blaming you for it speaks volumes. For future reference, the normal, healthy thing for him to do if he feels really disrespected is to sit up and say, "Hey, don't treat me like that, I feel disrespected," then talk about it with you later. Punishing you by kicking you and locking you out in your pajamas is not okay. It's messed up. Break up with him. These are excuses. Be done with this man-child. Interesting that you say you aren't his mother, then proceed to act exactly like one. Another young woman wasting her life away on an abusive loser and valiantly trying to save him. SMH. If you continue seeing him, I would stop making plans in the mornings. I came here because of your comment to me on another post. This is similar, but just barely. First, you need to set boundaries. I know you want to support him, but you can't let him drag you down with him, especially because you've suffered similarly. There is comfort in the familiar. You are familiar with what he's currently experiencing. That's comfort. I get that. But what he is going through, and that comfort you have with it, makes you vulnerable. Set your boundaries. Communicate them clearly and starkly. And hold to them. Forgive him when his apologies are genuine, but hold him accountable when his actions are out of line. You can be empathetic and sympathetic while holding to your boundaries.